The Reluctant Dragon. Long ago, there was a peaceful little village called Sheepdale, but one morning its peace was shattered by the yells of a terrified shepherd. "Help!" he hollered. "Whatever's the matter?" cried his wife. "Something terrible," he wailed. "As big as 4 horses, with long sharp claws, shiny blue scales, and a spiky tail." The shepherd's son looked up from his book of myths and legends. "It sounds like a dragon to me," he said. That night the shepherd was too scared to sleep, and the next day he didn't dare go into the hills to see his sheep. "Don't worry," said the boy. "I'll go." "But what about the dragon?" his mother whispered. The boy gave a shrug. He might be friendly, and off he skipped up the hillside. It wasn't hard to find the dragon. He was sitting outside a cave, reciting poetry. "Excuse me, young sir," the dragon called. "What rhymes with beauty?" How about duty?" replied the boy. Yes, that's it. That's much better than fruity." Not only was the dragon a poet, he was also a great storyteller and a vegetarian. In days gone by, dragons were fearsome fire breathers, he told the boy, burning down houses and stealing princesses. Ethel Scorcher the Red was one of the most feared dragons of all. The boy loved hearing the dragon stories and came back every day to listen. But when the villagers found out about the dragon, they were terrified. "We must slay him before he kills all of us," they cried. The boy ran straight to the dragon's cave. "The villagers want to get rid of you," he panted. "You're not safe here anymore." "But I wouldn't hurt a fly," the dragon replied. "Try telling that to the villagers," said the boy. But this is my home." "I know," sighed the boy, "but they want you out." "I could read them some of my poetry," said the dragon. Back in the village, the mood had turned from fear to excitement. "He's here!" cried the blacksmith. "Who's here?" asked the boy. "St. George, the dragon killer." A cheer came up from the whole village. "We're saved! He's going to fight the dragon for us." Once more, the boy rushed to the dragon's cave. "St. George has come to fight you," he said, "and he's got the longest spear I've ever seen." "I don't like fighting," replied the dragon. "I'll run in my cave and hide until he goes away." "You can't do that," said the boy. "He's sure to find you in here." But the dragon just yawned and closed his eyes. "There must be something I can do," thought the boy. By now, the villagers had gathered around St. George and were telling him fibs about the dragon. "He eats 10 sheep for breakfast. He's burned down 5 houses already." The boy waited for the villagers to go, and then, "It's not true," he cried. "That dragon's my friend. He wouldn't hurt a fly." St. George scratched his chin. "How can you be sure?" he asked. "He recites poetry, and he's a vegetarian. Does that sound fearsome to you?" St. George could see that the boy had a point. "But I'm St. George, the dragon killer," he explained. "Everybody expects me to fight the dragon. I can't just go home." "Wait a minute," cried the boy. "That's it. We'll stage a great fight, and then everyone will be happy. Quick, let's go and tell the dragon." The boy led George to the dragon's cave. "What a perfect place for a fight," said George. The dragon appeared, looking very grumpy. "Go away," he said. "I don't like fighting." "It doesn't have to be a real fight," said the boy quickly. "You just need to put on a good show for the villagers." "So there won't be any violence?" asked the dragon warily. "Well, it has to look real," said George. "But you'll just be acting out a story," the boy assured him. "I'm rather good at storytelling," said the dragon, who was warming to the idea. It was St. George's description, however, of the feast they'd have after that finally convinced him. On the day of the fight, the villagers were up bright and early. They cheered and waved when St. George rode into view. But where was the dragon? Suddenly, a roar echoed around the hills and flames burst into view. Even the boy was taken by surprise. Everybody gasped as the dragon emerged, his scales sparkling in the morning light, his breath threatening to burn anything in sight. "Charge!" cried George, heading straight for the dragon. He galloped hard, his spear held high, and the dragon bounded up to meet him. And they shot past each other. "Missed!" yelled the crowd. George and the dragon turned round and charged once again. This time there was no way they could miss. Clatter! Bang! Oof! The villagers covered their eyes and then peeked through their fingers. Who was winning, they wondered. Finally, the dust settled, and there was St. George, standing victorious, the dragon slumped at his feet. "Hurrah!" cheered the crowd. "Cut off his head!" cried the blacksmith. "I don't think that's necessary," said St. George. "I think this brave and handsome dragon has learned his lesson. Let's invite him to join our feast." And George led the villagers, the boy, and the dragon back down the hill. That evening, in the quiet village of Sheepdale, there was the loudest, most joyful party that anyone could remember. The boy was happy because his plan had worked. The villagers were happy because they had seen a fight. George was happy because he had won. And the dragon was happiest of all. He had been the star of the show, and now he had a very full tummy.